I'm Allie Craig, and I'm traveling across the country to fix the heartbeat of the modern economy, the entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are like no other business. It isn't just about selling a product or a service, it's about selling the experience, the relationship, and speaking to the social stories that hold the hearts and subconscious minds of our audiences. And it's these fledgling brands that must be designed as much for their audiences as it is for their authors if they're going to break the statistics and make bank. Having fixed countless brands over the last 20 years and worked with hundreds more entrepreneurs, founders, and startups, I know that I need to do something radical to get these brands and their founders back on track. Because in this age of social media where everyone is a critic as well as an instant expert, your business and audience can boom or backfire overnight. If I have any hope of saving these brands and transforming their businesses, I have to get these entrepreneurs to embrace the experience they are really selling and escape the mindset that all they are is just an offer. Hey everyone, this is Allie Craig and this is Fix My Brand with Allie Craig, and I am here with the amazing Sylvia Becker-Hill today. And you know, Sylvia's brand was kind of unique coming in because she was selling her old brand as she entered the show, so she had this unlimited amount of freedom on many levels to create anything. And you would think that with all this freedom, that would make it really simple of like, oh my gosh, everything's possible. That's the problem. Everything was possible on many levels. So thanks so much for joining us live, Sylvia, to talk about not just where your brand was, but where your brand is today and where your brand's going.
My pleasure.
So let's get honest. When you came in, you had anything possible. I mean, that's such a luxury that most entrepreneurs think that they could have, but it also could bring up old patterns of what to do and how to do it.
And I was in business already for over 20 years, so I had all this accumulation of content. I remember how you were fighting with me to let go of my beloved infographics.
Oh, you love those infographics.
And I still love the essence and the content, but I had to let go of the design, which I had just a year earlier spent so much time and money in producing. So to let go of investment previously made and thought through all the content and focus on the essence, what is really, really important now and for the future, coming not only from the brand I sold, but from the 20 years of experience. That was it was hard work. There were moments of overwhelm and also chaos because I have not at the very beginning had the guidance principles, which I got later through my Trinity Code, to really choose what was really essential and important to take forward.
Because really in the beginning, I think the biggest struggle was not falling into the old school ways of the hustle. Let's see what that was then.
So I painted now this free moving spirit in this bright, beautiful yellow, and intuitively, this is the thing with body mapping, it's an intuitive process, and obviously you can see in the center, these gorgeous boobs. I just love these breasts. They are beautiful, they have roses, they have glitter, they are wonderful. And the name of this free spirit is Hi, I am safe. So safe capitalized because it's a name, it's not just an adjective. And for me, working with my inner child and women's empowerment, for the last 7,000 years, for women, it was not safe to be powerful. So for a woman to declare, hey, I am safe, and safe as a real, it's my name, I'm safe to be powerful, because we women, we will not step into our power, into our freedom, when our safety is still always at stake.
You have a unique perspective because of your 20 years of training to really be thinking outside the box, outside the patriarchy. But still, we were struggling with when coming up with how to create the brand, not to fall in to those old patterns. I used to say superwoman syndrome, but we've evolved that language, and thank goodness. And I think that's something most entrepreneurs really struggle with.
Especially, I grew up in the patriarchy, so my own brain is ingrained with all these old habits. Consciously, in my everyday life, I know how to live beyond them. But when you and also the whole year 2018 put me under pressure and stress because of all my private issues with my parents, my old ego, my old patterns of survival were kicked in and came forward. So I was now challenged to create something new in a new way without falling into the old patterns of survival, of hustling, of pushing, of fighting, of going where the resistance is. So that was huge. That was really the biggest challenge, I would say, for me personally, to relax, to allow myself to live what I'm teaching others. To create success now, not from hustling, but through inner alignment and with the power of trust, which makes it nearly feel like magic. Because I use now synchronicity and alchemy to produce more results with much less effort.
And it's all about up-leveling and making sure that it wasn't the same old, or the way everyone else does, because the messaging is truly unique and different. And what you ask your audience to do is to up-level themselves and up-level their internal stories and the social stories going on, and making sure it's like on one level it's like, yay, we got to up-level, on another level it's like, oh crap, I got to up-level, because it is an internal struggle to really step out and keep going and keep going.
And up-leveling in a unique way. I live in Southern California. I'm surrounded by amazing mentors, trainers, so-called gurus, and I'm subscribed to a gazillions of their newsletters. I'm going to the events. So I'm bombarded by all this messaging, and I was sort of listening with the intention to find my own way. But that was challenging because sometimes it was so loud, it was nearly overpowering. And when I had weak days, the self-doubt came up. Maybe I should listen to that person, or maybe I should do it more like that person, or maybe my voice should sound more like that email. So to stay true to my sense of integrity and my values and my Trinity code and my style and the brand you were fighting for to me to discover, which you saw before me much more clearly, that was really fighting against the noise around me so that I could stay clearly the course and embrace my new brand.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, because I don't have your stories and your background, I can't see on many levels what your unique essence is, and more importantly, how to create that unique relationship for you and your audience and the life you want to create. Let's see what that looks like. Here's the truth. In the end, no matter what in the world you're selling to another human being. A human being has to say yes to you. And for a human to say yes to you, you have to understand what really drives and what really motivates your human audience. Neuroemotional relationship intelligence. It's about having your brand be relatable in a deep way in which your audience wants you, needs you, and must have your brand. That's Neri. Like attracts like. And that's exactly what we see here with Sylvia. She is what we would consider more of a New York Charleston personality in Neri, and so is her audience. Significance and love is both something that is very important to Sylvia personally, as well as to her audience. So as we move her brand forward and we begin to create, we're going to want to make sure that there's a lot of strength in there for her New Yorkness. We're going to want to make sure there's some warmth and approachability for her Charleston, a lot of significance to make Sylvia feel like the expert that she is, but also to make sure her audience feels like they're the badass people they are as well. I have to say, with the brand that we've built, it has an awful lot of heart, which is great because, you know, your old brand had smarts, but no one doubts your smarts, girl. Like, you have the way you speak and hold yourself, that wasn't ever the question, but to make sure that we built a brand that you loved and that they loved, and that there was this great relationship happening for your personal life and professional life was key.
Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of love, the biggest gift you gave me around that was inviting my husband to join the photo shoot in Orlando. That was not just a nice gesture, because it triggered an up-leveling of our marriage as a true partnership. Peter, my husband, is now stepping up as a full partner for my school. And it triggered so many inspirational conversations, which helped me develop the current curriculum we are rolling out now with the launch of the school. So it's way more love-driven. My whole business, I can say now, is love-driven and not any longer business or numbers-driven. And that is a gift I got from you, and I'm feeling showing up now here.
Well, because number one, you really always were love-driven centered, but you didn't show it previously in a lot of your work. And then because that actually does bring the success, and that does bring the relationships, and that does bring the transformational change and the evolutionary living and all of that, that it is all rooted in love. So it actually speaks your message stronger and even clearer.
I had to let go of some old cultural German beliefs and paradigms which were always separating the spheres of life. Business or career here and money, and love, private, family life there. And they were in these two different boxes and there was a gap in between. So now I finally, thanks to you, I have a brand where both of these spheres merge, which is my desire. I want to live holistically. My life, my business, my life's purpose, it's all one now and not any longer separated pieces.
And that actually leads us perfectly into this clip all about redefining your success and how we did it.
Awesome.
It is my job to be able to not just understand my brands and understand their audience, but to on some level embody that. Embody where what Sylvia really wants and what her audience really wants meets. Because if I can speak in that tone where that connection happens, that's where the magic happened. And that's exactly what we did. And honestly, for me, that was a turning point of working with Sylvia, because she got to see that I do truly understand what she's about, who she is, what she wants, and what her audience wants as well. Because of that, it was able to create the energy and passion she's always wanted in her copy. But now we're actually able to do it in a way that is powerful, inspiring, and fun, because honestly, Sylvia's a heck of a fun personality. Redefining success. It's like, yay, and then it's also scary when you're actually doing it and creating it. And I know when we were actually building the elements of the brand, there were certain times where I don't doubt that you weren't questioning what in the world I was actually doing. But I really think that we got to the point where, I think through the photo shoot in Orlando, you saw aesthetically, we got the vision and the energy, but then also writing the copy, doing your Media One sheets, that you realize that it's truly speaking your heart in a way that is authentic to you, authentic to your audience, and more importantly, redefining what success is to both of you, which is really the heart of the school, is redefining those social stories.
Yes, and I was positively shocked how well the copy was able to capture my heart's language. Because when I wrote always academically and dry.
Yes,
very German.
Yes.
Yeah? I mean, I drive a BMW, so my writing, my copy was like that. So now it's really coming from the heart, it's authentic, and the challenge I had to go through and all my clients have to go through is redefining success on their own individual, unique terms.
Yep. Not your terms, not my terms.
Yeah. We all are so pressured to do it accordingly to society, to step into the career of mom or dad, of the family traditions, or of the circles we are growing up in. So to really take a stand for the freedom to define even success and the metrics, how you measure success and progress on your own unique terms, it's revolutionary.
And to still do it in a structure, and that's exactly what your school does. But even getting to the idea of the school took a little challenge. Let's see how that looked.
When I came home as a little girl with my very good grades, I was always the best in class, my father looked down on these pieces of paper from the teacher with this pain in his face. He looked down, looked up, and he shook his head in disbelief, and he said, "Oh, honey, you are way too intelligent. You will never find a husband." Because in a patriarchal culture, things like intelligence, power, strength, leadership, by definition, they are male. So for a woman stepping into that, wanting that, that is dangerous. And we have this fear, these definitions in our minds. So the next phase of evolution will be a partnership between men and women, which is on a level of eye level, of equals, of partners. So it's not only between men and women, but it's also in us. We women, we have an internal patriarchy, because everything we learned, how to behave, what a woman has to supposedly to look, to say, to work, etc., these are beliefs in our own brains. So at the start of my career 20 years ago, I helped women to break through the inner glass ceilings of corporations, and now I help them to break through the inner glass ceilings between their own ears and their own mind. My clients are all brilliant. They are already successful in the eyes of society. They have certain achievements already to show for. They either have a great career, or they made a lot of money, or they have a beautiful, healthy family, or they are super fit. The key word you hear me saying is or. So they have success in 1 or 2 areas in their life, but not in all. So in my school I do a lot of, I call it realignment between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, so that women learn to understand, how did I incorporate the patriarchy? How is my self-doubt fed by all these old, outdated beliefs which tell me that being successful is dangerous, or you can't have it both. You are either successful in your love life or in your career, but never in both. Or power is nasty and negative, and if you want power, then you are not any longer a woman. Or if in order to be successful you have to be more male than any man. I call this whole thing together, this cocktail of biases and negative beliefs, the superwoman syndrome, where we believe we have to be super and more male and more strong and more clever in order to play the boys' game on their playing field. I teach my ladies how to redefine what success means for them, which playing field they even want to play, and to redefine then the chosen playing field and the conditions and the rules. So that no woman has to be a superwoman, she can be simply woman.
I don't think you could say it any better than that exact clip said it, to define really what your school and your approach is about.
It says it all. It's about really creating leaders for tomorrow, for catalyzing the evolution of humanity by women taking their own evolution in their own hands. And I love the trademark we created, evolutionary living. So it's all about permanent growth, and it's all about this natural growth. There is this beautiful saying, grass doesn't grow faster when you pull it. So it's
that must be a German saying, girl.
It's all about the magic of the right timing. And this is how the design of our quarters in the school is. We always will have a focus on a specific topic. So the first quarter is all about success. So all 6 courses, they are approaching success from a different angle. Relationship angle, career angle, communication angle. And by coming from different angles, in the middle, your own version, your own definition, your own experience will emerge. I'm so excited. We have success, then the next one will be about love, the third one about abundance, and the fourth one about balance. And they all together create a path for evolutionary living.
Well, and I love that, number one, it's very interactive. So it isn't just stagnant e-product of any sort.
No.
It truly is a campus-esque setting. Right now online, soon to be in real world.
Yes.
But what I love your approach is it isn't male or female. As you said in the video, it's about being eye level and creating that partnership. And I think that is something that is not spoken about in the marketplace, especially in the entrepreneurial marketplace for women, because you see the extreme of your inner goddess and all of that, and that's like great and lovely, or you have the extreme of the man, but you don't have the balance of what is it really for you and your unique essence in a way that is empowering for the humanity as a whole, not one side or the other.
We have a whole department, Manlution.
I know, I love Manlution.
Men become part of the solution, and my husband will spearhead it. So we will have offerings specifically also for men as well, and I'm very excited about it. And I'm also adding in the future other faculty members who are teaching in team together with me. I know I'm brilliant, and I know my limits. There are certain topics I can't cover, but I have this inner commitment to my clients that my school, the Becker Hill Women's Empowerment School, will teach them everything the patriarchy doesn't want them to know.
You say that's so naughty.
Well, there will be some courses which touch some naughty aspects as well, because female sensuality is the source of our power. But I will not go here in public into the details. You have to buy the course.
Well, and so let's actually look at that transformation. Let's see it in action.
So here we are at the retransformation of the rebirth of my business. The new business is the Becker Hill Women's Empowerment School. Yay! I always wanted to have my own school. And the crazy thing is how life sometimes goes when we are adults, when we mature. I completely forgot. I remember in my late 20s back in Düsseldorf, I went through a NLP, neuro-linguistic programming training, and I had a buddy. And with her, I did a vision process. And with her, in my late 20s, this whole old dream of having your own school came up again, and I labeled it in German, Schule der Frauen, which means School of Women. And that was when I was like 27, 28, before I met my lovely husband Peter. And then I met Peter, I got married, I became a mom, I moved around the world, and how it goes with having babies and sleepless nights, I forgot my dream. For years, for over a decade, I completely had forgotten my dream. So the long-term vision of the school is to be part of the evolutionary trend, which is towards true partnership between men and women. I know some people might not see it this way. The current landscape, politically and economically, is tough. And yet what we are seeing, the tough things, are just the current proof that the patriarchy is dying. And the patriarchy is resisting its own death. The current problems of the world can't be solved only by men or only by women either. It's not about re-establishing a matriarchy. We don't want to go back historically. We've been there till 7,000 years ago, and look where we ended up, right? So we don't go back. We go to true partnership between men and women so that we have enough diversity in our creativity, our brain juice, to create really sustainable solutions for the current problems. So that needs a lot of women who are waking up to their power and to their leadership. So that's the mission of the Becker Hill Women's Empowerment School, where leaders are made.
That's beautiful.
So let's drink to reinvention and old childhood dreams.
Absolutely.
Yay!
Cheers, cheers. To dreams come true, right?
Yes, to dreams come true.
I love seeing your personal transformation, but also seeing the transformation that this school is allowing for the people who are enrolling and coming to it. That it's truly, it's your heart and it speaks to your soul, but it's that huge ripple out into the world, basically.
Yes, and I'm choking a bit watching this. It's so my life's purpose.
And that's the whole point of a brand, right?
Totally, totally. I can't wait to have my students coming to my open office hours, because as you said, it's not a typical classical online information product.
No.
Which sadly in the classic industry has a 90% of breakup rate. My commitment is to turn the numbers around. And with weekly office hours, like at any classic college or university, the students can come to me with any kind of question. They get micromanagement coaching and feedback, and their questions answered, and there will be a community created. We will have a real campus, and I'm so excited about that, because I know that creates the magic to keep the motivation alive, because sometimes some of my courses, I had to design them to push women out of their comfort zone, which feels uncomfortable. So they need the office hours with me to push through their fears and embrace them and turn them around into energy to fulfill their dreams.
And I think because this is truly your life's work and your soul fire, your heart, your passion, it's that commitment that everyone who comes to your website, does one of your courses, sees, feels, and experiences, and hopefully helps that you believe in them so much that they believe in themselves enough to go through those hard times, go through that work, because girl, you've done it with your brand, and really embody and live the evolutionary lifestyle.
Yes, I've seen it hundreds and hundreds of times again and again. Women, after just a few hours of working with me, said, Sylvia, you liberated me. Oh my gosh, Sylvia, I didn't know that this woman is in me. Wow, Sylvia, my friends, my husband, people are astounded of who I am. My voice has changed. True transformation is sometimes easier and faster than people can imagine, because their whole life they had their attention on the struggle and the pain, and now guiding this whole energy into their dreams and into their essence and power, magic.
Let's talk about the future. What is the future?
The future is rolling out the 4 quarters. Currently we have a beta test running for the first one.
Yeah.
in this rolling out, we will also publish the first book my husband and I are working on. Love Differently is the working title. We will see if that stays. Where we not only share our own love story, but teach how to love differently, because our commitment is to support people so that we get the divorce rate in the United States down substantially. That is just in the next 1 or 2 years. And then when the 4 quarters are rolled out, I will create a training for other women to become leaders of the Becker Hill Women's Empowerment School all around the world. So I have this beautiful world map as a vision where you have these little flags or light bulbs popping up so that in 10 years in every major cities of the world are physical buildings led by women, Becker Hill Women's Empowerment School. Like we have certain, like HP, not making here some advertising, stands, people know it for ink and printers. BH, Becker Hill, will stand for women's empowerment, for leadership and true partnership between men and women. So it's a legacy project. It will grow and live beyond my lifespan, and that makes me so happy.
And that's a true lifestyle brand, because it starts with you, but it grows so much further that soon enough there's going to be so many women on social media around the world who are living embodiments, walking the evolutionary life. So, I want to ask them, you mind if we ask you some questions from the viewers?
Sure, please.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, one was, because you had an old brand, because you've been doing this for 20 years, you had old ways of saying things and old patterns of your own, and because the school really embodies all of your work, was it challenging to leave your old brand and embrace your new one?
Yes and no. It was not challenging so much to let it go because I was committed. I was so fed up with it and done with it of not working. So the letting go was not so hard. That was easier than expected, but embracing the new was harder than expected because I had to up-level myself. I had to raise literally my energy level. Combine that with your challenges and my private ones with my parents, it was a bit much. And so keeping the old level of self-care didn't work any longer. The whole process forced me to up-level self-care on a level which I hardly thought is possible. From better food, more sleep, massages, facials, and very important, I hired my first virtual assistant in years. I had an old story, I've done it in the past, which didn't work out very well, where I invested more money, where I felt I have a business working my butt off for my VA team, and they didn't help me grow my business. So now I have support, I have higher levels of self-care, and that was a huge transformation. And to do that in a time of risk, it was risky.
Well, and that's one reason why we did Orlando the way we did it, was because I wanted you guys to experience at least for a week. And then, because if you knew if you did it in a week, if you could live better, sleep better, eat better, take care of yourself better, have the support of a team around you, then you can go back home and you can do it as well.
It was a perfect creation. It made all of us feel like $1 million. I mean, it was just wonderful. Thank you.
That was the goal. So one more question,
yes,
which is, the school completely out of the box. It is not, as we like to say, the California entrepreneurial experience of the E programs. Was that scary for you to be so unique and so different?
The uniqueness was not so scary. It was more the unknown and the question, can I translate 20 years of in-person, offline work into an online school which still has the qualities I love so much, of the connection, of the tribal community and the depth of the learning? Because I myself, I bought info programs. They are still wrapped and standing somewhere in my shelf. So that is my commitment. That is a real school which supports the students to go to the very end of their desired transformation. And that was a huge risk and the big open question, which now with the beta run we already get the answers. That I did it.
Of course you did it, because that's your commitment. Of course you did it. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Sylvia. Everyone go check out her amazing brand. And if you have any more questions for the brands or for our experts, you can go to fixmybrands.com. Right there on the homepage, ask us your question. More importantly, come back next week. We have my favorite trademark lawyer I've ever met and my personal trademark lawyer, Jamie Lieberman, with us live, answering all of your trademark and business questions, because guess what? Trademark matters more than you realize. Join us next week and learn why.